Here comes the train. Everything is fine with Indian trains except that I lost the cameraman. He couldn't get on the train and stayed at the station. Whether I found him or he stayed in India, you'll find out if you watch this awesome video till the end. What are your dreams? What can I dream of? A better life, of course. Nobody wants to live like this. People here live in shacks made of dirt and sticks. The local slums are more popular than the wonders of the world. I can't imagine how people live here. Everything is covered in grime. It's impossible to breathe. Some construction debris. It all goes into this furnace. They're taking something out of her hair. It's a pretty grim place. In Asia's biggest red light district, it's easy to run into gangsters. What are you saying to her? Do you even know who we are? I'm the boss here, beggar. Watch it. I'm the boss. Residents of the city use the beach as a public toilet. Everyone goes to the beach to relieve themselves. The smell and atmosphere are quite unique. This is Mumbai, a city that never gets boring. Alex, if you're watching this video, I'm gone. Hello friends, I'm in Mumbai. It's India's largest and most populous city, and one of the main economic centers of the country. But it's known not for its posh hotels and houses, but for its slums. They attract thousands of tourists. Films are made about them, and books are written. And they also bring in money, not only to guides who earn from curious tourists. Inside the slums operates a huge economic system, which can be destroyed by the ambitious plans of the city authorities. After all, the land under the slums is the city center, and it's a prime spot for developers. We'll see how people live in some of the world's most famous slums. We'll see the luxurious areas of Mumbai, and we'll take a ride on the famous local trains. We'll also try to film Asia's largest prostitution neighborhood. I think we'll start with the prostitutes, and for that, we're going to Kamathipura. This is Mumbai's oldest and Asia's largest red light district. Experienced sex tourists rarely come here because of the squalor and danger. A rich European tourist is likely to lose their wallet here and catch a few infections at the same time. The ones standing on the street and all those along the curb, they all work here. They're covering their face now. But the peculiarity of the local market is that when you look at them, you'd never even guess that they might be prostitutes, that they're working. On my last visit in 2015, I managed to take a few hidden camera photos, but was quickly sussed out. This time, we managed to talk to some local female workers, but not for long. Come with me, we'll ask a few questions. They're camera shy, they're scared. They're scared of your camera. If we talk here, they won't give you 2,000. We have to pay them 1,000 rupees. Hey, bastard! I'm not talking to you. Hey, get out of here. Let's go with him. What's your name? Paruldas. And you? Borida. How old are you? 50 years old. And you? 50. How long have you worked here? 35 years. You were 15 when you came here? How old were you? I don't know. I had 2 kids then, that I know. You had 2 kids then, so she was around 25. Why did you come here? I was poor. I had no parents. Did your parents make you come? No, I came on my own. Do you have parents? No. How did you find out about this place? People just told me. Where are you from? Calcutta. Can you explain to me how things work here? Do you work by yourself or for someone? Is there a boss who protects you and maybe gives you a place to work? What's going on here? What's going on? They're asking us some questions. What the hell are you doing here? What are you doing here? We're just talking. This is our fucking area. What the hell are you telling her? Do you even know who we are, you bastard? Stop. Let's just talk. We're gonna beat the shit out of you right here. Quiet, quiet, quiet. We don't want any trouble. We have foreigners with us. Fuck them and their fucking mouths. I'll tear your ass up. Stop. Calm down. You wanna fight? We don't wanna fight. What the fuck are you talking about? I fucked your mom. We're gonna cut you up right here and throw you out. What's left of you. We'll fuck you and take everything. Bastard. Fucking beggar. Where do you live? These people are already in the car. Easy. Leave my shirt. Why are you doing this? Are you out of your mind? How dare you touch them, huh? They just wanted to interview them. They're just bloggers. Don't worry. We're just talking. Let us go. Let us go. What are you doing here? All right. We're out of here, bro. We're gonna break your car. There are locals here, so we don't want to mess with them.
Against them.
Otherwise, they'll bring their people.
All the people there.
In general, if you decide to film prostitutes, you should do it carefully. In most countries of the world, you are likely to have problems. And the Mumbai gangsters were persistent and decided to chase us on motorbike. What the fuck are you filming? Close the window. Close the window. There they come on motorbike. What do they want? They don't want you to film. Why are they following us? They want you to delete what you filmed. The locals like to drink hard liquor and get into fights.
They like to fight again.
That's what the people are like here. What about the police? I didn't see any there. And if we'd called them, they'd be gone by the time we got there.
That's why we did not call the police.
We've got a single police number, 100. If we'd called it, the police would have got here straight away.
Immediately here.
Anyway, the local gangsters chased us away very quickly. It's quite sad because no sooner had we agreed to start the interview than some local violent guys came up and chased us away. They chased us away and got upset that we were filming. They started chasing us on motorbike. Did they get away or not? And now we're off to Dharavi. That is the name of those famous slums in Mumbai that beckon thousands of tourists. Let me warn you, these aren't the typical slums I've shown you in other countries. You may not even immediately realize that you have already arrived in Dharavi because apart from the shanties, there are restaurants here. There are restaurants in this place.
Many restaurants. Those
People who work there come for lunch and dinner.
and dinner, right?
Now it's lunchtime, and the restaurants are packed with people. There's a little restaurant there, and another restaurant here.
All the restaurant.
These are restaurants, but we don't call them that here. We call them hotels.
Call it hotel. When
But not in the sense that you can stay there,
second is the hotel to
but like a hotel for food.
food.
This is another place where the workers come for lunch. You see how many people there are? They're all waiting for lunch. What kind of food is there?
Dal.
Rice, dal, vegetables, and chapati. How much does it cost?
50 rupees.
50 rupees. 50 rupees per portion. There's another restaurant. There's a part of it there too. Some people take their food here and some wait there. There's no table here. People eat on the floor. And this is what a butcher shop looks like. Here's the meat. There's a live future product in that room there that hasn't been slaughtered yet. They keep cattle, slaughter cattle, and sell fresh meat right here. There are literally just a few carcasses being butchered because there's no refrigerator. As you can see, everything is literally sold and butchered here in front of the customer. The meat is fresh, and to keep the flies away, they burn some special thing here. Despite the initially apparent unsanitary conditions, everything is actually very clean. The shop owner takes good care of his stall. The meat looks good and fresh, and the place is clean. Most importantly, the seller is nice and warm-hearted, and he allows filming. There are also high-rise buildings and yards where children play. Of course, it all looks eerie. By the way, in the slums, there are not only miserable shacks, but also medium-height houses that look very creepy. There are yards, parking lots, just the way we like it. This is the water delivery. And this is what a playground looks like in the slum. The kids have a slide and some nice hammocks to rest in. But the most amazing thing is that the kids have sticks and stones. I wonder what games they will play with them. The kids are really cute. Thanks to the film Slumdog Millionaire and the book Shantaram, Mumbai's poorest neighborhoods have become a major tourist symbol of the city. Mumbai's most famous and biggest slum neighborhood is Dharavi. This is where the film was shot. At one time, Dharavi was the largest slum neighborhood in the world, and then in Asia. But times change, and now it's just a very large slum. No one knows exactly how many people live here. The figure most often quoted is 1 to 1.2 million people, and the area is just over 2 square kilometers. That's about the size of Monaco, for 334 football pitches. Dharavi is a city within a city. There are factories, schools, hospitals, warehouses, temples, and even crematoria. And of course, thousands of shacks. The average size of a shack here is 10 square meters. Often a large Indian family, sometimes up to 15 people, lives in such a dwelling. In 2019, several media outlets reported that tours of Dharavi surpassed in popularity even tours of the Taj Mahal. And this is a mosque made of white marble, by the way, one of the 7 wonders. There are many guides and travel agents in Mumbai who make good money from the curiosity of tourists and local poverty. I first visited these slums 7 years ago, without any guides. The atmosphere was about the same as it is now. So, if you want to come here, you can actually visit on your own. The only problem is that it'll be hard to talk to the locals, because not many speak English here. But if you look around, it's absolutely safe. No one will rob you, and nothing bad will happen to you here. However, if you're interested in understanding how people live here, it's best to hire a guide. If you're a fan of Slumdog Millionaire, guides will gladly show you the exact places where the film was shot. This is the place where Slumdog Millionaire was filmed. A short scene was filmed right here, where the kids run down the pipe and jump into the street. This is that street there. They're running from this bit here. When you rewatch the film, you'll recognize the street. But you won't be able to discuss the film with the slum residents. They've heard of the film, but they haven't seen it. Why not?
पता ही नहीं है.
They don't know this film. They don't? You just said they do. No, I meant that the tourists know the film. People in Dharavi aren't very educated. They know next to nothing about what's going on in the world. The locals, to my surprise, have not only not seen the film, but many haven't even heard of it. Although you'd think if they made a film about your neighborhood and it won an Oscar, why don't people watch it? And that's what I asked them. Well, it turns out the locals aren't interested in watching such a film. They prefer action films, entertainment, or musicals. So, the movie should be a typical Bollywood film. And this Hollywood stuff is just not interesting for the locals. So Slumdog Millionaire passed them by. That's it. There's almost no one to discuss the film with. Perhaps many people have simply forgotten the film. After all, it's been almost 15 years, and when it came out, it caused quite a stir not only in Hollywood. In January 2009, when Slumdog Millionaire was nominated for an Oscar, there were protests in Dharavi, at the home of one of the actors. The locals didn't like how they were portrayed in the film, and they were also outraged by the word slumdog, literally meaning a dog from the slums. This is what the film called the main characters when they were children. It was also widely debated in India whether it was ethical to conduct tours in the slums and make money by showing all this poverty. But thanks to the film and the book Shantaram, Dharavi did become very popular with tourists. Today, hundreds of local companies and guides make money from tours here. Many of them state on their websites that part of their profits goes to help the locals. Allegedly, this money goes to various projects related to education and healthcare. Local traders and craftsmen also benefit from tourists. Some tourists want to try cooking Indian food themselves. Then we hire some of the locals to go to their homes, and the hostess teaches our tourists how to cook Indian food, and we pay her for it.
In return, we give them money. That's the first thing.
The locals also make their own oil lamps, leather goods, and various other items that tourists buy as souvenirs.
Stop from here, and
This is how tourists help the local population. My guide Rahul was born and raised and still lives in Dharavi. He works for a tour company that donates part of its profits to the local residents. I keep some of the money for myself and my family, and some I give to the community. It is difficult for Dharavi residents to get their children into regular city schools. First, not everyone can afford to take their children to other areas for schooling. Second, many public schools simply don't want to accept children from the slums. Therefore, activists are opening their own educational institutions here. There are even some private schools. They're much cheaper than similar institutions in the city, but still not affordable for everyone. This is a private school, but since it is in Dharavi, it is not too expensive. Some students from Dharavi attend schools in other areas.
Where they get the best education, but
There, they receive the best education, but cost about $1,000 per year, whereas here it's only $10 to $12 a month, or about $100 to $120 a year. This is a private school, and all subjects are taught in English.
subjects are here is in English.
Today is Sunday, so there are no students. These are local kids playing
Here
cricket.
They are playing cricket.
Therefore, Rahul helped organize a supplementary education school in Dharavi. Schools usually have 40, 50, 60 students per class, per teacher,
So the teacher can
so the teacher cannot give attention to everyone. And after school, students go to additional classes, for which they pay separately.
I am
But here, I give them the opportunity to attend classes absolutely free, because additional lessons elsewhere cost at least 10,000 rupees a year.
minimum for the year, and
Many families simply cannot afford
cannot
that,
afford it.
so we do it for free. Right now, we have math and physics, and at 7, we will start another subject.
Another subject that the history, geography, and civics.
History, geography, or social studies. They learn Hindu, Marathi, and English. When I was younger, I faced many problems. Because I was born into a poor family. My parents didn't have money for my education.
So after
As a guide, I gained knowledge from tourists. I learned English thanks to them. So now I speak it and earn money. But not everyone can be a tour guide. So I want to give them knowledge that will allow them to earn money in other fields. That's why I decided to hold lessons for them, to educate them. Indian society is still very traditional. Children from poor families often follow in their parents' footsteps. The son of a bin man becomes a bin man. The son of a potter becomes a potter, and so on. The most effective way to break out of this cycle is to get a good education. That's why mostly those who dream of leaving Dharavi come to this school. Where do you plan to work? At the Magento company.
Officer of the
I plan to work out.
I don't want to work in India.
Officer, that's it.
He is from Russia. Would you like to work in Russia? Yes.
I want to become an
I want to be an actress and a civil servant in the Indian Administrative Service,
activist, that officer
and also a singer.
became a universe.
Rahul himself hasn't been able to get out of the slums yet, so he kindly agreed to show me his house, where he lives with his family. This is my house. This is where I live. Upstairs is my bedroom. I sleep there, and my parents sleep here. This is the kitchen where my mom and my brother's wife cook our food. And there's a small altar here because we're Hindu.
We have a small shrine inside of the house.
So that's 2 rooms? One upstairs. Yeah, we can go upstairs. Can we? Yeah. It's a classic slum house. That's my mom. That's my husband's sister. They're cleaning it up for Diwali. There's one room here, one here, and a second is there. Let's go. This is my aunt. Hello. And there's a little window here. A window overlooking a beautiful street. Look at this. Our people usually complain. They don't want to buy flats close to others. Close flats is when you can knock on your neighbor's window. That's called window to window. In fact, despite all this poverty, everything is clean. Everything is shining clean. There's perfect cleanliness and order. Well, as much order as you can get around here. And it's beautiful. People even with the modest means still try to make it look nice. Here's another window. Yes, also a magnificent view of the neighbors. Here's a beautiful TV with a handkerchief over it. Very nice. Originally, there were fishing villages on the site of Dharavi, but as the marshes dried up, craftsmen began to settle here. The old stone houses belonged to the 19th century settlers. After India gained independence, Mumbai became one of the industrial and economic centers of the country, and laborers from all over India flocked here and settled in Dharavi. Over the decades, the neighborhood grew, and shanty towns were built up uncontrollably. Factories and shops sprang up here. Gradually, Dharavi has developed into such a colorful cosmopolitan society that lives by its own internal laws. There are water pipes running right down the pavements, and the water is only available for 3 hours a day, so people store water in barrels and use it for the rest of the day. And this is what the electrical panels look like. There are meters there. It's like a separate room. There's a cupboard where all the meters are collected. By the way, everything is quite tidy. That's what windows to windows means. The roads here are so narrow. And of course, all this is not quite well ventilated. It's still a wide street. This, you could say, is the main street where people walk. And this is the passage to the houses. That is, the houses are built here probably 60 to 70 centimeters apart. So 2 people can hardly move apart here. Plus, people still manage to make some additions, superstructures and balconies where things are stored. Perhaps soon Dharavi will no longer be a Mumbai landmark. After the film Slumdog Millionaire came out, many people started talking about the need to resettle all these shanties, and the authorities wanted to build proper neighborhoods with apartment buildings. Everything like we like to do in St. Petersburg, but nobody wanted to bother with the resettlement of 1 million people, and finding an investor was problematic. But recently, there was news that a certain Indian billionaire, Gautam Adani, agreed to resettle the slum. He planned to spend $2.5 billion on the project. To do this, the billionaire would first have to relocate all the residents of Dharavi, and then build commercial and residential properties and partially bring the residents back. But not everyone in the slum is excited about the project. Firstly, only those who moved there before 2000 can apply for new housing. That is, you could say the original inhabitants of these slums. According to preliminary estimates, this category won't include around 100,000 families. Secondly, it's not clear how the new houses will be distributed among large families. Will there be, for example, one flat for everyone? Or will each adult member of the family get their own flat or room? In addition, it's not very clear how to establish ownership rights. All the housing here is mostly unregistered self-builds made of makeshift materials, and it's not easy to figure out who owns what and how much. Plus, there are a lot of artisans living in Dharavi, who in addition to flats have premises and warehouses. I mean production premises, where their machines are located. So everything is designed for them to work. And if they move into a flat, they will literally lose the opportunity to work and continue their usual way of life. So there are a huge number of problems, and it's not clear how to solve them. Everyone's different. Some live with more or less sturdy houses with separate rooms, and some live in windowless shacks with their huge families. Almost no one has a toilet in the house. Everyone goes to a public one, but even these people hold on to their houses and do not want renovation. Where will we go? They'll give you another house instead. What kind of house will they give us? We are poor laborers. There are many of us. Where will we go? They're against the slum demolition. They don't want to move. They have enough space here. They like their work, they earn money, they have enough space.
Enough space for them.
The whole project will take 7 to 10 years.
Get ready, hold the project. So,
And what are they going to do in the meantime?
and this is not only one.
And it's not just their families. There are a lot of them here. Where will they all go? There won't be jobs in the new place. They might give us a room, but what's in it for us? We won't be able to earn a living. And it's not for sure that everyone will have a room. That's my job right there. It's a big block, 99 families.
So I have to
And I don't know how to work with that.
work on this.
It's gonna be tough.
Also,
I mean, sure, it'll be great to move into a new house,
point.
but people are gonna be disconnected from their jobs.
This is
It's hard for us. What are we gonna do? I don't know.
because
This is a family business for us. We've been doing this for generations.
so of course we'll
So if they come after us, we will talk, explain that we can't do it any other way,
care about it, but probably
but we will try to continue our work anyway, because the whole community is doing it. We are promised flats, we are promised new housing, because in the slums, people are very cramped. In my house, for example, there are 12 people. It's hard.
it's hard to adjust.
We are promised to be resettled in flats, but we don't know how many flats there will be given.
How much apartments he will give to us or not.
They promise us that, but we don't understand yet how it will all work. The biggest problem is that once the slums are replaced by human anthills and skyscrapers, many locals will be out of work. There are whole neighborhoods of artisans with workshops right in their homes. This is a textile workshop. This is where they make clothes. This is the machine they work on. It's lunchtime. They're having lunch. This is where the clothes are dyed. Here they bring white cotton, and here they dye it in different bright colors.
Colorful and different.
This is what these people do.
Right now,
You can watch the process as it happens.
they are dying right.
Right now, they're dyeing the cloth.
Fire from the down and they.
The fire immediately heats up the vessel, and they dye the clothes in it. And this is the neighborhood in the slums where they make clay pots, lamp stands, and other products. The environment problem here is huge because they're made and fired right here. There is no open space here. The building is incredibly dense. So these special kilns stand right under the windows of the houses, and they smoke 24 hours a day. I can't imagine how people live here because if you look at these streets, they are filled with smoke. There are these huge ovens at every step where they burn pots, and the smoke doesn't ever go away. These streets are not ventilated. Everything is sweaty. You can't breathe. How do people live here? I don't know. I want to close myself off from all of this somehow. And just so you understand, the fuel used here is not the most environmentally friendly. They use some plywood remnants, something with glue, some construction waste. So it all goes into this kiln, and this is where they burn these pots. It's a pretty grim place. And this is where the kids play with firecrackers. As you've realized, friends, the people are in no hurry to move out of their slums and into high-rise human anthills. So to convince the people, they've started putting up adverts like this. There's a man standing there saying, "We want to rebuild the slums. Why live in slums when you can live in comfortable high-rises?" He says your status will immediately improve and everything will be wonderful. So, vote for renovation. But the people don't want it. They realize there's a catch with renovation. They've seen what happened in Moscow. Dharavi residents mostly work in leather dressing, clothing production, trade, and sorting rubbish brought here from all over the city. There are 12,000 private businesses here, from small shops to manufacturing sites. The local economy is estimated to bring in $665 million a year. Mumbai partly depends on these local enterprises, especially for rubbish recycling. According to Realty Gifts, Dharavi recycles more than 80% of all the waste produced in Mumbai. Local men sort plastic and turn it into small pellets, which are then sent to make plastic products. Metal is also recycled in Dharavi. And local ceramics use old fabrics to dry their wares. It's a kind of zero-waste production. They collect various plastics from rubbish, streets, restaurants, or even some manufacturing
Industries,
sites.
factories in all different locations.
Then the people here sort the plastic by type, quality, and
Size,
color.
color qualities.
After sorting, the plastic is put into a crushing machine.
Crushing machine.
The crushed plastic is then washed in water
In a water.
and dried on the rooftop.
Dry this plastic on a rooftop.
It is then melted and made into small bars. These bars are sent to local companies that make plastic products. After shredding, the plastic is washed here. The washed plastic is dried in a device like this. And then they put the dried plastic in bags and then take them to the roof to dry in the sun. These are all bags of plastic. In 2 to 3 days, all this plastic will be recycled and new plastic will be brought in. That's how much plastic there is. There's a lot. It will all be recycled in just a couple of days, and new plastic will be brought in. This is metal, not plastic. They should realize that and get it out of here. Only plastic is sorted here. So, I understand recycling is their main business. Yes. And it's not just plastic that gets recycled. Some recycle aluminum or cardboard. And there's a lot of furniture manufacturing here. They make good quality furniture, and the wood that doesn't go into production is brought here. This wood is used to make Hindu altars, and a lot of other things. I'll show you. Nothing goes to waste in the slums of Dharavi. I told you they make altars out of the leftover wood. Here they are. These are freshly made altars. This is what they look like. Look at the quality of this wood and the quality of these altars. There's a big difference. It looks as if they were made of first-class wood, but in fact, they are made of leftovers like this. Nothing goes to waste in Dharavi. It would seem with so many people involved in recycling, there should be minimal waste in the slums. But unfortunately, that is not the case. This is roughly what all the rubbish bins in the slum look like. They're overflowing. There's piles of rubbish and slop all around. Some people are even digging through them. But what's interesting is that there's a social advert on the wall, urging everyone to throw all waste in the bin, sort it, and be ecological. It's not very clear how to be environmentally friendly and throw banana peels into the bin when the rubbish dumps look like this, and no one maintains them. Many slum dwellers are engaged in the production of leather goods. Local craftsmen have even learned to fake sheepskin as snakeskin. In the shops and markets of Mumbai and other cities, you can find leather bags and wallets under the Dharavi brand. It can also easily turn out that some luxury bag from an expensive shop was also made in one of the back streets of these slums. And this is the leather manufacturing in the slums of Dharavi. There are many factories in the city making things out of leather. Their goods are sold abroad and all over India. When the leather is brought here, the wool is stripped right outside, washed, and then brought here and washed in a washing machine. After washing, it is dried here. All this leather is drying now. Here they use goat, sheep, and buffalo leather. After drying, the leather is dyed in some color.
These people, they dye it with the colors and then
It looks beautiful like this. That's the design they make. Then they make the final product and sell it. Right here on our website. The products they make here are branded with the Dharavi brand,
there is a mention, the brand name is called the Dharavi.
as the name of the slums themselves. The workshops here are quite interesting. As you walk down the street, you can't tell if people live there, if there are machines standing around, or if there are warehouses. Everything is quite chaotic. Often, workshops are located in ordinary residential spaces. Naturally, there are no regulations, or insulation or ventilation. People work in terrible conditions. For example, there are a lot of sewing machines here, and people are busy sewing something. They are very friendly, but the premises themselves are very cramped and stifling. It's hot here. It's hot outside. And inside there's no aircon. Nothing. People work here all day long, breathing endless dust from the fabrics and from the street. The terrible Indian traffic rushes by, and I struggle to understand how anyone can work here at all. Poor people. But even for such places, they hold on in fear that if all this is renovated, they will simply be left without work and a means to survive. Right here in the slums, they sell those Dharavi branded bags. The shops will insist that you can only buy them from them and nowhere else. That's not true, of course. Leather production happens here. They make it all here, with some drying drums and everything else. And there's also a shop next door. It's of a local Dharavi brand, a respected brand. Now, let's see what they make out of leather here. Can you show us your best bag? They're all the best. Depends on what you want. What's the most popular model? Backpacks and laptop bags are popular. These ones. It's a 4-in-1 bag. You can use it as a briefcase or as a long handle bag. How much is it? It's 5,200. Are they only sold here or in other shops too? This brand is only sold here, not online, not anywhere else. That's the concept behind the brand. People have to visit this place to buy something. That's how we promote tourism, so we don't sell them online either. You won't find this brand anywhere else in the world, only in our shop. It's a Birkin. This is buffalo leather. And this is lambskin. You can touch it. It's light. It's a good bag. Apart from our guide Rahul, the shopkeeper was the first person in Dharavi to have seen the film Slumdog Millionaire, probably because it also brought him some extra customers. Yes, thanks to that film, tourists started coming here. Before that, there were no foreigners in Dharavi. No foreigners at all? Not in Dharavi. That was before, but after the film came out and won the Oscar, tourists started coming to Dharavi. More and more and more. Before the pandemic in 2018, a record number of tourists came here. So many don't even come to the Taj Mahal. The seller didn't like the film itself. He said the filmmakers twisted everything. It's just a film. Today in Dharavi, it's different, not like in the film. Maybe in the future, there will be people like that, committing crimes and all that. But for now, it's peaceful. People believe in hard work and working on themselves, not in crime or selling drugs. Everyone here earns an honest living, and so do we. Human rights activists say the slum tours are not entirely ethical. They don't solve the problem of poverty, but make it a tourist attraction. It's exhausting for the slum dwellers. It's like having someone come and look at you as if you're in a museum. And tourists don't really understand the conditions in which people live. Generally, in our publications, we don't even refer to Dharavi as a slum. In all our social networks, in all the media, we always say that Dharavi is a homegrown neighborhood. It was built by the people themselves. The economy, infrastructure, and housing in the neighborhood were all organized by the residents themselves. So this neighborhood should be seen as an alternative form of urban development. There is a certain stigma attached to people being told that they live in a slum. It turns out that formal sources of finance are cut off for these people. They cannot get a business loan or a housing loan because they're labeled as slum dwellers. The same goes for students. They are not taken into formal schools because no one wants students from Dharavi. The URBS Association of Urbanists and Architects has been studying how life works in slums for many years. They started right here in Dharavi. In 2008, they opened their first office here, and now the organization has branches in Bogota, Paris, and Geneva. Urbanists explore how slum dwellers self-organize and build their homes, without blueprints, without machinery, and with limited resources. When we work with local builders, we do not apply the architectural education we received in universities and design schools. On the contrary, we try to forget everything we were taught, because we're trying to understand how they operate when they need to provide housing for themselves with such minimal resources. So it's designed practically from scratch. We, as architects, are observing this design process from scratch. And everyone is involved in this process, both the builders and the residents themselves. That element of participation is important here, and we, as architects, facilitate that process. URBS is trying to get the slums to stop being called slums and get the homes and locals recognized as legitimate. The fact that these shanties are self-built is one of the main arguments of the Mumbai authorities in favor of demolishing the whole of Dharavi. The Dharavi neighborhood isn't 20 or 30 years old. Dharavi is almost 150 years old. Specifically, this place where our office is located is one of the oldest settlements in Bombay. It is a fishing village, and the people who live here are, in fact, the indigenous people of the city. They were here way back when Mumbai was located on separate islands. So people are very attached to Dharavi. Their roots are here. Several generations have lived here. These are not recently arrived people. This is the third or fourth generation living in Dharavi. Some things in Dharavi are changing for the better though. I was here in 2015, and the thing that struck me the most then was this huge pipe, but not by its size, but by the way it was used by the locals. Yes, it's certainly interesting here. The last time I was in these slums was 7 years ago, and at that time these huge pipes with water flowing through them were used as public toilets. They were all covered with shit on top like alpine snow peaks, all because the pipes were heated in the sun, and when people went for a poo there, it all dried quickly so it didn't stink, and it was all like a huge street toilet. Now people just sit and admire the sunset. Just look at this colossal change. But this is the only thing that has changed in the local slums, because otherwise, as it was a hellhole, so it remains. The local rivers and canals, as they were black water, with the consistency of butter, thick as oil, and very smelly, so they remain, because all the waste is still discharged into the river, as people lived in these shacks made of plastic and some, I don't know, rags, shit, and sticks, so they continue to live. So, the changes, if they come to these slums, will not come soon, and I'm not sure that the reconstruction that the city authorities are planning will somehow have a better impact on the lives of these unfortunate people. Although the pipe has been cleaned, they haven't stopped shitting in the streets of Mumbai. But I will tell you about that later, and believe me, you won't be able to unsee it. But for now, let's get back to ecology. If you go to the website of the IQ Air Service, which monitors air quality in the world live, Delhi and Mumbai are consistently at the top 10 dirtiest cities in the world. If you look, you can see without any rankings that the air is clearly not alpine. And this is also a payback for rapid development. 71% of Mumbai's air particulate matter is the result of rapid construction of buildings and roads. Local industry is the source of 71% of greenhouse gases. The air quality is also affected by a huge number of cars, slum dumps, and the open burning of rubbish. It also has some of the dirtiest rivers in the country. Only the Ganges in Varanasi is worse. The Mithi River, which flows through the slums and industrial areas, is particularly unlucky. From Hindi, the river's name translates as sweet, but it would be more accurate to call it stinky. Sewage has flowed here for decades, with people throwing away other rubbish too. Sometimes water pollution leads to unexpected results. In 2019, photos of flocks of flamingos on the beaches of Mumbai flew around the world media. As journalists wrote, sewage water became so abundant in the bay that it provoked the growth of algae, and the algae in turn attracted the flamingos here. On the banks of this terrible river, we met a woman who lives here. Her name is Hina. She's 22 years old, and she has 2 young children. She lives with her husband and her brother's family in this structure, which can hardly be called a house. Mostly I work around the house, I do what I'm told, and my brothers give me money when I need it. Where do your brothers live?
Brothers help.
They live and work here, not far from here. Where's your husband? He's in the slums. I'm trying to start working. I'll send this child to my mom's in the village. If I work, I won't be able to look after him. How long have you lived here? I've lived here at least a year. 2 months to a year. If the government tears this place down, where will you go? We'll see where we can pay rent in the slums. This is where my brother lives. This is where he collects everything for his work. How much money do you need a month to live well? How much do you spend a month? 10,000 to 11,000. Do you have a phone? My brother has one.
Charging कहाँ पे करते हो?
How do you charge it? We don't. What are your dreams? Well, what can I dream of? A better life. Nobody wants to live like this.
अच्छी जिंदगी.
And what's a good life for you? I dream of working at the airport. I want to be hired there. I'm a hard worker. I like to work. Take this money before he comes back, or they'll take it. She refuses to take the money? What, am I going to take money from these poor people? They'll earn more.
बहुत कमाएंगे ले बच्चा.
Take the money, kid. It's a lot of money for a kid, but the kid's not a toddler anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I walk through a lot of slums, and this is an amazing story because sometimes when I see a person that is nice, that they're not just beggars, you talk with them, you want to help. So sometimes I help. Especially when I see that people are in need. I realize they won't waste the money, they'll use it for groceries. I gave her 1,000 rupees. That's good money for her, considering her brother earns 10,000 a month. And she was refusing to take it. She was very shy taking it. That's the first time I've ever seen that. You just realize how amazing the people who live here are. She has no contact with the outside. She just lives for 11 months in this shack, with no electricity, no prospects or anything. And her dream is to just have a normal job and support herself. When you look at all this, especially this advertising poster above her shack, with some jewelry, with some kind of well-fed life, you understand how much inequality we have in our society, when some people choose diamonds and others just dream. They live without electricity in a shack and dream of just having a job to provide for their family. India is a multinational country. It is home to a huge number of ethnic groups who practice different religions. Therefore, interethnic and interreligious conflict is not rare here. 80% of the country's population practices Hinduism. The second most popular religion in India is Islam. About 13% of Indians practice it. It is between these two confessions that the biggest disagreements occur. Unfortunately, they sometimes lead to many casualties, and the densely populated cosmopolitan Mumbai was certainly not spared from this problem. On November 26, 2008, 10 terrorists simultaneously attacked 5 public places in Mumbai. One group opened fire at Chhatrapati Shivaji railway station. 2 others took hostages in 2 hotels. Others attacked a cafe and a Jewish center. Indian Special Forces managed to finally free all the hostages and eliminate the terrorists only after 3 days. The siege of the Taj Mahal Hotel lasted the longest. As a result of the terrorist attacks, 175 people were killed, including 15 policemen, 2 Special Forces members, and 9 terrorists. One attacker survived. He was executed 4 years later. The blame for the attack was taken by the group Deccan Mujahideen, which is linked to Al-Qaeda. Later, a feature film, Hotel Mumbai, was made based on these events. And the very cafe where the attack took place became very popular thanks to the book and film Shantaram. This is a picture of Shantaram right here. It says Shantaram, like it's a motorbike.
If you can,
He had a very special motorbike for those days,
at that time,
and he rode it with his long hair.
and
And there's a cafe over
there's
there,
a one cafe.
Cafe Leopold.
So in the Leopold cafe,
Shantaram used to sit there a
he would
lot,
sit there and
always at the same table.
always he used to sit in a one table and
And under the table, he kept a gun to protect himself from the mafia. That's the cafe, over there.
in 2000
In 2008, there were a series of terrorist attacks in Mumbai. One of them was here at Cafe Leopold.
cafe, you could
There's even a bullet mark here.
these are the bullet marks,
The owners of the cafe left the mark, didn't remove it to attract tourists.
attract the people. So many tourists comes here for
People come here to drink beer and eat.
the name
This cafe was also mentioned in the book Shantaram.
books. So
That's why it's so famous. I wouldn't be surprised if the locals haven't seen Shantaram either. Indians have little interest in Hollywood, especially in Mumbai, which is the capital of Bollywood. Many people mistakenly refer to all Indian cinema as Bollywood, but only Hindi-language films belong to Bollywood. These are the ones that are filmed at the studios in Mumbai. There are also 2 major film centers in the country. These are Tollywood, with films in the Telugu language, and Kollywood, which produces Tamil language films. There are so many small studios that specialize in other local languages: Gujarati, Malayalam, Marathi, Punjabi, and so on. But it was primarily Bollywood that brought world fame to Indian cinema. It was films from Mumbai that were popular in the 80s in the USSR and in the 90s in Russia. Today, Indian cinema reaches Russia more as memes. You must have seen all those crazy action films where the heroes perform maximally unrealistic stunts in between songs and dances. This is a trend in Bollywood. It's called masala film. But of course, more worthy films are also made here, which achieve international recognition. For example, the sports drama Lagan, Once Upon a Time in India, was shortlisted for the Oscars in 2002, and films like Devdas and The Color of Saffron were nominated for BAFTA awards. Last year, the film RRR, A Revolution Roars Nearby, won the Oscar and Golden Globe for Best Song. The highest-grossing Indian film, Striker, was also made in Bollywood. It grossed $250 million at the worldwide box office. Mumbai is a kind of Indian Los Angeles, where you can also meet film stars on the street or in a restaurant. For example, Amitabh Bachchan, the idol of the main character in the film Slumdog Millionaire, lives here. And naturally, there are many film studios operating here. We met director Samir Devaliya at one of them. He makes films in Gujarati and isn't surprised that Bollywood cinema is first known worldwide. Bollywood is actually a very commercial cinema. Other Asian countries also enjoy Bollywood films. In Afghanistan, in Pakistan, people feel connected to Indian culture. Even Arabs feel close to it. It is believed that in Indian films, everyone sings, dances, and all sorts of crazy things happen. Are most films in India really like that? No, not at all. You see, there are different companies, and some of them make very good films. But they haven't received recognition yet. People in the world think that all Indian cinema is Bollywood, but there are also regional films that are of very good quality. Even the film that recently won an Oscar is a Tamil documentary. We are making very good cinema, but not many people know about it yet. But they are very good films, world class. Film stars in India are highly respected and loved. Like Hollywood, there is huge competition among actors in Indian cinema. But, according to Samir J. Devalia, if you have talent and perseverance, even a person from the slums can make it onto the screen. Yes, there are actors from very poor families, from some remote villages. But they have come a long way, and now they are famous actors.
Well-known, stable actors also.
If a person has passion, they can become a very good actor. If a certain resident of Dharavi becomes a successful actor, he is likely to move to the Juhu district. This is where the film stars mostly prefer to settle, though it's by no means the poshest area in the city. Mumbai, of course, is not only known for its slums, but also for some of the most luxurious areas in the country. There are several expensive areas here, including the most prestigious Malabar Hill, surrounded by hanging gardens, and the Tardeo neighborhood where I am now. It is known primarily for the residential skyscrapers of Imperial Towers. They are 240 meters high, and until 2019, they were the tallest buildings in the city. Tardeo is also home to the most expensive private house in the world. It was built for his family by Mukesh Ambani, the richest man in India. His family, by the way, is very ordinary. Wife and 3 children. It's for them that he built this skyscraper. Each floor has its own design and layout. All of them are made of different materials. The building is called Antilia and is 173 meters high. The skyscraper has 27 floors, but it could have been 60. The owner just likes high ceilings. Each floor has its own design and layout. All of them are made of different materials. The first 6 floors are occupied by a car park for 168 cars. Living rooms start only from the 9th floor. The 7th floor has Mukesh's personal car service. The rest of the floors have several swimming pools, a spa, a small theater, a ballet hall, a fitness club, and a cinema room. While Russian palaces have mud rooms, an Indian billionaire has built an ice room in his house to escape the Indian heat. They say it's practically real winter with snow and ice inside. On one of the floors there is a control room and a so-called panic room, an autonomous shelter equipped with all security systems. There are 3 helipads on the roof. The house also provides many balconies, a terrace overlooking the Arabian Sea, and several luxurious hanging gardens. Unfortunately, you can't get a closer look at this skyscraper because there are high fences, and in general, the development in Mumbai is quite dense, so you can't get close to enjoy the views of any skyscraper. There is a real construction boom in Mumbai now, especially the luxury segment is actively developing. According to the Economic Times, this year Mumbai has become the 6th city in the world in terms of price growth for luxury property. In the second quarter of 2023, prices for luxury housing rose by 5.2%. The price depends on the date of construction, whether the house has modern technology, what services are available in the residential complex, how big the swimming pool is, if at all, and whether there is a gym. The price depends on all these factors. If we talk about the average price, it is somewhere around 70,000 Indian rupees per square foot. Now, according to the rules, if a building is more than 40 years old, it falls under the renovation program. There are 7 buildings on this street. They will all be rebuilt because they are all over 40 years old. Construction companies come here and ask us if we want to sell them our building. They offer extra square footage in return. So if I have a 3-bedroom, they'll give me a 4-bedroom. If I had 4 rooms, I'll have 5. And overall, the living conditions will be much better. There is a problem with parking. In the neighboring building, there are 8 floors of parking only. Downstairs is only parking, then residential floors. So it is not surprising that the land under Dharavi is a prime target for builders. True, investors will have to work hard because they will be obliged to build free houses for slum dwellers as well. But realtors still consider the project promising, but of course, not for the residents of Dharavi. Slum renovation is certainly a great idea. But the problem is that Mumbai is already very densely populated. There are 23 million people in the city, and if you start renovating Dharavi, people will have to move somewhere else for a while. But Mumbai is already overcrowded, and there is no space in the city. So they will have to move far outside the city. But if they work in Dharavi, I don't think it is possible for them to commute to Dharavi every day from their new home far outside the city. I don't think it's even possible. But if you renovate Dharavi, it will be a great neighborhood, because people will have everything for a comfortable life. Do you think it will be possible to stay in Dharavi after the renovation? Yes, legally yes. The Mumbai Slum Rehabilitation Authority is a government organization. It's a government project. They say that if you build something on a slum site, you are obliged to provide housing there for the slum dwellers themselves. So the developers will build 2 buildings each. One for the former slum dwellers, and one for sale to the new residents. But the problem is not only where they can live, it's also where their workshops and warehouses are. So they're afraid they'll lose their jobs with the renovation. Yes, that's a problem. Where will they work after the renovation? That's why many slum dwellers I know are against the renovation. It's for that reason. To have a new house, of course, it's great, it's excellent. But what's next? Where am I supposed to make money? There's no work, no factories, no workshops. Yes, they build me a nice house, no question about it. But what's next? It's like buying a new car. It's great, of course, but you still need money for petrol. Now let's see what the historic center of Mumbai looks like. Architecture is also interesting in the center of Mumbai. It's colonial architecture, and that's a very unusual style. It's a mixture of neo-Gothic, some Hindu motifs, and a bit of Italian Gothic. And the main credit for this goes to the British architect Stevens, who worked here and in fact built the main building of Mumbai. The most beautiful building, as many believe. This is the central station, Queen Victoria Station, which we will see a little later. But his railway stations and other buildings inspired other architects to work in the same style. That's why Mumbai city center has this unified style. The architecture is very atypical for India, and most of these buildings have survived very well to this day. So now let's walk down the main streets to the railway station and take a look at the amazing local architecture. Crossing the road is not so easy. On the one hand, there's a traffic light that you have to wait 30 seconds for, but nobody waits. Everyone crosses as soon as there is a small window. But the British have also given India double-decker buses. They're beautiful. Now they have been renewed, but earlier on the streets of Mumbai, there were quite antique buses. Look at the architecture. Amazing Gothic towers, vaults, windows, and cornices. Totally atypical for Asian architecture. This is the kind of luxurious architecture you can find in Mumbai. It's almost like London. By the way, all this beauty ends very quickly, because if you turn the corner, you encounter ruins, makeshift buildings, and some incomprehensible architecture. But the buildings left from the British era look luxurious. Open galleries, rich decor, and Gothic style. completely atypical for this region. Haha, here's the back alley. So you're walking down these gorgeous streets, and then you enter a back alley filled with rubbish, pipes, sewers, and all sorts of ruin. Air conditioners, cages, and makeshift buildings. That's how quickly the Indian beauty ends. Then you come out again, and everything is beautiful once more. Luxurious buildings, expensive shops, and a back alley with a barefoot boy. There are some Italian motifs like we're somewhere in Tuscany. Let's get some good wine, sunshine, cornices, arches, and all this in Mumbai. And on the left, there's some Gothic church. It's London again. That's certainly amazing. Up ahead, there's a magnificent building with antique columns. And on the side, there's some makeshift buildings, galleries, and balconies. It's just horrible. Two completely different worlds. I don't understand how they exist together. And someone has added an extra story on top of this luxurious building. Some entranceway that's covered in wires, like vines all over the place. There are some old clocks. It's either rubbish or really useful papers. Unfortunately, all these historic buildings are already deteriorating a little because they're not well maintained. On the street, there's someone being shaved, someone being fed, someone else is probably being cleaned and treated. Instead of plates, they're using sheets of paper. Delicious food. The main post office building is being renovated. I don't know what they'll keep and what they'll tear down. It feels like they're tearing down everything, leaving only the walls. There are still some artifacts here. Old wooden window portals, for example. I have a feeling it's all going to be demolished. This is what an Indian post office looks like. The building is breathtakingly beautiful, but photography is strictly forbidden here. And this is what the post office corridors look like. There are cabinets everywhere. Old files eaten by mice. I have no idea what this all is. Is it rubbish? Is it not rubbish? There are cobwebs, dust, and dirt everywhere. No air conditioning. The whole thing is amazing. It's like being transported back in time in a time machine. It's like in a movie when the fans are running. People do almost all the work by hand. There are lots of people. Everybody's kind of fidgeting. They don't accept cards, of course, only cash if you want to buy, for example, stamps. But what's interesting is that unlike the Russian post, they don't sell canned meat and tampons here. It's strictly postal services. And Mumbai also has the most unusual playground imaginable. If you don't think there are any cool playgrounds in India, I'm going to surprise you. It looks like we've found an incredible playground. Firstly, take note at the manual carousels. Amazing! Okay, a boat. What an incredible playground with a concrete airplane. There you go. Where else would you see something this beautiful? Only in India. These are the wonders you'll find in the streets of Mumbai. A real concrete airplane. Where else would you think of such a thing? Only here, in the land of wonders. If in Russia, trees are whitewashed, in India, trees are used as a canvas for street art. Look at this amazing work. All the trees along the street are different. It's a kind of thing where I'm willing to put up with the useless paint. It looks interesting. Just don't overdo it. On some streets you can do that. The only thing is, I don't know how bad it could be for the wood. But judging by the fact that this ficus will outlive us all, it's pretty big. It won't be too badly affected by this painting. In general, if someone has the itch to paint a tree, then take colored paints, friends, and do something original. Perhaps life will be as colorful and fun as we have in India, and I am sure somebody is already writing a comment. Ilya, why don't you talk about the pavements in India that are impossible to walk on? Where is your righteous hate? No, I don't mention it. I don't talk about it. It's obvious people don't come to India for the pavements. Let me pass, thank you. People come to India for the culture, for the food, for the incredible atmosphere, but definitely not for the pavements. Ilya, how come you didn't criticize the painted trees and the bad pavements? You might be surprised, but there's something that annoys me in every city in the world here too. The main thing is to avoid getting pooped on here. There's lots of pigeons, and for some unknown reason, despite the fact that everything here is just covered in pigeon droppings, people come and directly pour bags of grain here. Note, people come on motorbikes and bring it with them. So there's more grain here than these poor pigeons can eat. Notice the tree. The tree is just covered with pigeons. The pigeons are everywhere. They're on the buildings, everywhere. It's not very clear why this is done, because pigeons, of course, may be very nice birds. Some people even associate them with the bird of peace or something, but they're actually flying rats. The peculiarity of pigeons is that the more you feed them, the more pigeons appear. It is impossible to feed pigeons so that they're full, because all the grain that you put out just breeds more pigeons. The only way to deal with the population of these lovely birds is to stop feeding them. But people think they're hungry, so they keep putting grain out here, and it's all covered in pigeons, and everything is just a mess, covered in their droppings. Pigeons carry contagious infections, and they create a lot of dirt, but the locals love it, so that's how it is here. This is where you sharpen your knives. Chhatrapati Shivaji Station is one of the symbols of Mumbai and is one of the most beautiful railway stations in India. It is included in the World Heritage List. The building was built in Victorian style with Indian motifs, and the British completed it in 1888, after 10 years of construction. At one time, it was Mumbai's biggest construction project, because usually all the buildings were finished much faster here. And when the train station was built, they named it after Queen Victoria. And so it was the station named after Queen Victoria all its life. But in 1996, the Mumbai authorities renamed the station after the city. Now it bears the name of one of the national heroes of India. In total, there are 5 railway stations in Mumbai. Besides long-distance trains, they also serve suburban trains. These trains, in fact, replace the metro for the locals. They carry 7.5 million people a day and 2.5 billion people a year. One train usually has 9 carriages which fit 1,700 people, but during rush hours there are up to 4,500 passengers. People literally storm these trains. And this is also one of the local attractions. As a result, 1 square meter sometimes holds 14 to 16 standing people. Can you imagine the crush on these carriages? In the morning, trains transport the locals to work, and in the evening back home. The main thing here is to secure your place in the carriage and manage to squeeze in. But let's return to the architecture. The station looks more like a temple or a palace with a huge dome. It is the least like a railway station. They say it's the most luxurious and beautiful railway station in India, but I think it might be one of the most beautiful railway stations in the world. There's another interesting point. There used to be a statue of Queen Victoria under this clock, and then, when they started erasing all traces of Great Britain here, the Queen's monument, the Queen's statue, was taken down. It was lying here on the garden nearby for a while, and then it disappeared. They say it was either destroyed or sold to some collector. Many people mistakenly think Queen Victoria is up there on the dome, but no. Queen Victoria stood under the clock and now is gone, just like the name of this railway station is gone. There's a luxurious underground passage with commerce, with shabby walls. Oh wow, I've missed that. Amazing, amazing. A real temple of underground commerce. There are people with bags, with suitcases. Very comfortably and conveniently, they climb up these stairs to get inside the station. The station, of course, was amazing once upon a time. Now, as you can see, not much attention is paid to its cleanliness. And this is what all this beauty looks like. The Indian Railway Station is a separate kind of attraction altogether. Be sure to stop by because it is always crowded and someone is always sleeping here. There are people from all different walks of life. There are beggars with huge families, and there are some businessmen. Both long-distance trains and both local trains leave from this station. The trains are different. There are broken down, dirty suburban trains. There are new trains with air-conditioned carriages. Some trains are packed, and some leave half empty. Anyway, there's a real, very colorful life here. It's not rush hour yet, and the station is relatively deserted by local standards. But before the departure of any train, especially during holidays or weekends, everything is jammed with people. It is impossible to pass. People literally storm the trains. It's a pity that they don't look after the architecture at all. They've got amazing architecture. One of the most beautiful railway stations in the world, which is just covered in adverts. It's all shabby. No one really looks after it or cares about its appearance. And here at the station, they are advertising some new housing projects. The impression is that this is an advert for a new housing estate, somewhere in Chelyabinsk. The architecture, as you can see, is the same. A luxurious ticket-buying hall at the railway station. A tent where they sell apple juice. By the way, it's interesting that the area is plastic-free. The use of plastic bags is banned, and there is a fine of 50 rupees. Ah, that's if you're throwing away the plastic. I don't really know if you can just carry the plastic bag with you. I mean, you can't litter, that's understandable. But they write that it's a no-plastic zone, and the use of plastic bags is forbidden. But the fine is only for throwing them away. It's easy to get through here because all the doors are open. You can just go to the other side like that. This is the woman's carriage. It looks like this. It's a woman-only carriage. It's usually the least crowded. People come in and jump off, and they jump right in. That's a good first-class cabin. With local traffic jams, it's best to travel by train. Firstly, it's interesting. Secondly, it's inexpensive and just a cool ride. By the way, it is convenient. You can simply move from one train to another. If you suddenly find yourself on the wrong train or miss your stop, you can easily switch trains at the station. Indian railways are always very interesting. If you're traveling here outside of peak hours and the wind blows gently, you can enjoy the views. The main thing is to ensure that no one grabs your phone from the bushes, because such incidents can happen here. The railways aren't the cleanest, and as you can see, people don't hesitate to throw rubbish right on the tracks. Just look at this magnificent building. I envy Mumbai. What a beautiful railway station they have. But why don't they look after it? You have a very beautiful railway station, but why don't they take care of it? Why is it so dirty? Why doesn't anyone clean it?
You don't care about it.
No, it is looked after. Every year, the regional administration cleans it. But because of the polluted air, by the end of the year, the station is dirty again. It will be cleaned again in December. After it's cleaned, it will be beautiful again. No, I mean it's full of some protruding air cons, illegal buildings, some adverts. Yeah, the station looks a little dirty. But it's not dirty, it's just a very old building. It's 125 years old. I know it's old, I mean, for example, you see, it looks like the remains of a gate. It's like there was a gate, but now there are trees growing in its place. It's because of the rainy season. It just ended, so there are these trees there. But the government is trying to keep it clean. They have a lot of other projects going on now, but they are trying to clean the railway station from the inside. They just don't have time to take care of the area around the train station yet. The government can't do everything, but they are trying anyway. Let's hope that one day they will take care of it.
Yeah.
If you come in January, February, it will be cleaner. It'll just be after the cleanup and it'll be very beautiful. There are some traders going somewhere, hurrying with their wares and carts. It's not easy to pass through here. It can be difficult. Friends, you understand that if you want to see the railway station in a clean condition, you should come in January, because they wash it in December. And I, a fool, decided to come in November and found the station not in the cleanest state. This bus looks like it's had a hard life. But it's worth noting that they have some new, beautiful buses, and some old, quite sad ones. I enjoyed riding on Mumbai's trains, so I decided to make a review of other stations for you, and at the same time ride in the second-class carriages during rush hour. It turns out you have to be a lot more agile here, and not everyone was agile enough. Well, here comes the train. Indian trains are generally good, but we've lost our cameraman. He couldn't board the train and remained at the station. Alex, if you're watching this, I've moved on. So for those who were concerned, I found Alex. He arrived on the next train. Now that Alex is found, we're off to tackle the Mumbai trains again. Another attempt at public transport. First things first, we need to buy tickets. It's all quite straightforward. You select the station in English. We need 4 tickets. We pay a QR code, just like in China. Each ticket costs 10 rupees. Second class. Is there no first class? First class exists, but it's pricey. 100 rupees per ticket. Second class is 10. Are we trying to save money? No, first class won't provide the experience we're seeking.
Okay.
Our guide is quite fond of us. He believes we need to be immersed in the experience. We need to be among the people. All those fancy first-class amenities won't lead us to what we're after. We need to be simple, so we'll be simple. Oh, the train's nearly empty, which is nice. Beautiful, empty train. I quite like it. There are some freight cars here. And this second-class carriage is where we belong. Just be cautious while standing inside. Otherwise, someone passing by might snatch your camera. Oh, they might. Or worse, they'll hit you. And you might never find them.
Okay.
Interestingly, people start disembarking before the train fully stops. Because the train isn't waiting for anyone. The rule is simple. If you've not made it to the train, you're not going. Following the hustle and bustle of the city and crowded trains, it's time to head to a serene spot to watch the sunset. It's autumn, getting dark early. It's 6 o'clock and it's sunset already. Mumbai's beach transforms into a wonderful public space. People play ball, take photos, go for runs. A large crowd heads to the beach in the evening to relax as the heat wanes. Wow, what's that coming? Is it a tractor? Seems like there are bin men who ensure cleanliness. And also in the evening, during low tide, notice how the sea recedes from the shore about 100 to 200 meters. And many people gather in this shallow water. Yes, they're cleaning up the rubbish here. Kudos to them. I was thinking, how come the beach is so clean? And here, folks are playing football. But not all of Mumbai's beaches are like this. I promise to show you how locals utilize public spaces as restrooms. Brace yourselves. It's not for the faint-hearted. And now, during low tide, we can observe the state of the seabed. And here's how the seabed looks. People dump garbage here in significant amounts. The sea is incredibly polluted. The entire shore is littered with various debris, dogs, all sorts of waste. But notice, people aren't ashamed. They simply bring bags and discard everything into the sea. Perhaps during high tide it's less noticeable, but during low tide it's evident. The entire seabed is covered in endless plastic bags and decomposing waste. The smell here on the shore isn't exactly pleasant. And to add to that, sewage is being discharged into the sea. Pipes lead straight from the slums, dumping a murky, foul-smelling liquid directly into the waters. There are numerous garbage dumps around where people dispose of their waste. Birds scavenge through these heaps. Essentially, the sea serves as a dumping ground. All of this is undeniably disheartening. And speaking of public facilities, it's a morning, we're at the beach. A large crowd gathers with children, adults. Everyone comes to attend to their needs. Men, women in suits, in dresses. There are a lot of them. I won't delve into showing everything explicitly, as not to worsen your mood. But trust me, the aroma and ambience here are quite unique. People are burning rubbish here as well. Perhaps the scent of burning plastic somewhat masks the stench from the vast public toilets. And yet, people sit calmly amidst the rocks. It's all about the sea being used as a giant latrine. That's how it is. Despite efforts to build public restrooms, which are being worked on, yet people still prefer to head to the sea. And as you can see, many seem unfazed. This is just the urban waterfront, adjacent to some fine hotels. The ocean is right there, but it's all strewn with rubbish. In the morning, some stroll or jog along the waterfront, while others come out to relieve themselves. This is Mumbai, public waterfront. With a beach nearby and beautiful hotels, people come to relieve themselves. This is Mumbai's contrasting facets. There's a Starbucks nearby. Hipsters lounging, indulging in their lavish drinks. The waterfront is strikingly picturesque. Notice the fancy cars lined up. People work, talk to each other. Some are on romantic outings. And yet, some simply come here to defecate on these very rocks. Just a stone's throw away, people casually empty themselves into the sea. Such is life, full of stark contrasts. I've endeavored to showcase Mumbai from all angles, even the less nice ones. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to post it on Reddit and share the link with friends on WhatsApp. I hope you liked it.
Service to New York Kennedy Airport. All confirmed passengers should now be boarding at